So today we are going to hear from our 5 Innovation Fund grantees. While these grants were announced in around August, mid-August, they were informally informed, but all the rest of the administrative work, etc., took quite a bit of time. So actually, in many cases, the contracts were signed as late as October, November. So we are not expecting that our grantees have got a lot of opportunity to work, because it's maximum they have been working for 3 to 4 months, even possibly even less. But the idea is, just so far after the grant interviews, so the grant process itself was quite rigorous, in the sense that they had to make presentations to a panel comprising of 9 experts, etc. But after these grants were initiated, we have not really heard from them what they have been doing since then. So I feel this is an excellent opportunity to learn from our Innovation Fund grantees, and they will walk you through the work that they have done in a relatively short span of time. So I feel it's important to set the expectations right. We are not we are not expecting that it will be presenting results or something, but it's more of a progress report. You more or less know what needs to be presented. The audience is interested in why you did what you did, what have been the early findings, etc. The order of presentation would be, we would start with Bangladesh, followed by, there's a little change. KARMA Power requested us to that they had something else come up, so they wanted to go after SwitchON. So if it's okay with the SwitchON Foundation, you go second, followed by KARMA, then Gham Power Nepal, and PARC Pakistan. And in the concluding remarks, some remarks from STC, possibly either Divya or Corinne, would be wonderful. So that's the session now. We have a 2.5 hours. Every grantee would have 30 minutes, of which 15 minutes presentation, followed by 15 minutes of discussion. Okay, over to, if there are any questions, any clarifications. If not, I would like to invite, and I'm also trying to check if there are any new participants since yesterday. I don't see, as far as my memory goes, I feel that all of us who are here were also there yesterday. So we don't really have any new rounds of introduction. With that, I hand over to KHM Limited Bangladesh. Manjur Bhai, you would have exactly 15 minutes to present. Thank you.
Thank you, Aditi. Hello, everyone. I am Manjur, Managing Director, KHM Power Limited. Thank you to give us the opportunity to present our last couple of month activities to share everyone. So I'm share my screen.
I will provide a reminder when 2 minutes are left, okay?
Is it okay? Everyone see your presentation?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll just remind you at when it's 13 minutes, okay?
Okay, yes, sure. Our proposal name is Integrated Farming and Women Empowerment through Solar Irrigation Project. So actually, we are working in solar irrigation project with ITCOL. So first the beginning, this is our company is a private limited company. So basically, so we are always, this is a actually, our profitability is a main concern because of the sustainability. So when we are starting the business, we are find out actually the income from the irrigation is not a good enough to make a more sustainable the project. So we are struggling to make it financially viable. Then we have a lot of study, and ITCOL team also suggests us different things. So we think about our project should be more resourceful. That's why after the more analysis, we find out how to utilize our asset irrigation project in the more income generation activities, and also more socially contribute. How can we contribute? So then we are find out if we can make it an agriculture project like with irrigation. So it will be more contribution to the society, environment, and it's make more income to our company. So that's why we are starting the new idea with IWMI, and IWMI gives us the opportunity to making piloting. So initially for our project, our plan is our panel structure will use a chicken farming shed. So first, after getting the fund from the IWMI, we are starting the renovation of the solar panel shed. And firstly, we are the first things to access to whether the shed can be refurbished weather friendly. So we make it refurbished, and second one, it was built while structurally we have a concrete floor. This is our floor. We make a concrete floor because of the safety of the chicken. And next one is on the all side shed are surrounding the net for protecting wild bird, and our structure we can covered by the net for protecting our chicken, and also for the protecting rain and sun. So this is actually our common structure. So in the floor we are filling the bricks for the make the floor, and this is the some activities we are showing what we are last 2 months what we are doing. So this is the one project activities for restructuring our project for preparing chicken farming under the shed. So this one is the another shed, some picture after the we are protecting the surrounding area for wild rain and the sun for the chicken farming, restructuring the solar panel. So some worker is working for the renovation work process. So this is the some activities they're innovating for the protecting some wild animal and the rain and sun, protecting their some activities we are completing here last 2-3 months. So this is the after the all the thing we are completing the floor, and this is the net, and we are also covered the panel for the protecting the rain when rain is coming, so it ensure that the water is not coming under the shed. So this is the completely we want to say before that this is the panel structure, but now it's become the chicken farming shed. So we actually want to ensure our asset is a more resourceful. So now it's a solar structure shed as well as the chicken farming shed also. So actually very small investment we utilize our asset as a both one panel structure and the chicken farming, both one it is working as a resourceful asset to our company. So this one actually in our government purpose is we want to ensure to all the land is maximize utilization. So in our project we use structure as a chicken farming shed. Also the space under the two shed we are also make a small pond for fish cultivating. So we want to ensure that our project land is maximized utilization. Maximum utilization we have a under the shed we are also using the chicken farming, and the two shed and the space we are using the pond also there also the fish farming. So we are this one we are achieving government purpose also. So this is the our palm house. Basically equal model palm house size is 10 by 10 feet, but we make it 10 by 15 by 13 feet, and with attached washroom with toilet. So that is one homeless people stay in the palm house and also working in the our project. There is some two people, 4 people. One is me, another is Mr. Motin Bhai is also it called working the it call, and another is our operator and his wife. So his operator working actually irrigation side and wife working in farming side, and he have two child, and they also stay in the palm house. There is some picture you can see. There is some cooking materials, and they are living also there. So we are ensuring the as a women empowerment also, because also they are husband and wife, but women have the independently appointed as a farming side, and man is independently appointed as irrigation side, so that we can ensure that under our project women empowerment also we are encouraging and we are contributing. So this is the last one. Actually, our project we are starting when this is the winter season. So our consultant suggests us this year winter is too cold, so he suggests us to starting the farming after 15 February 2021. So now 1 week before, some winter diseases affected some farming area. So he's also suggest us to start the chicken farming after 2 weeks. Even that we are complete all the renovation and appointing the women for the farming. So now we are planning to start after 2 weeks, because this is our pilot project. Actually, we don't want to take any risks, because pilot is very important for success. If we are failed, maybe our big plan is not work. That's why all the thing we're completing, but just waiting for our consultant feedback. When he suggests us we can starting chicken farming, but he tell within a 2 week maybe we can start the chicken farming. So that's all about our updated activities. So if you need query, maybe we can explain later.
Thank you so much, Manjur. You were very much within the time limit. So that gives us, I think, a nice opportunity for further questions and answers. While I think everybody, please, is the same rule, please raise your hand or put your questions in the chat box, and you can then ask directly to Manjur and his colleagues. I can see Shishir has raised his hand. Shishir, please go ahead.
Yeah, very, very nice work, Manjur. It looks fantastic. I just wanted to know what is the size of pump and the size of the panels that you have installed in the shed, and like what is the water requirement of the fish pond that you have and the irrigation land that you have.
Size of the solar panel. Our project is there is a 46 kilowatt, and every shed size is 70 by 23 feet. Length 70 feet, wide is 23 feet, and pond size is 25 to 70 feet.
What is the size of the pump?
Our pump is 22 kilowatt pump size. Panel size is 46 kilowatt.
And do you know what is the amount of daily water output from the system?
Every day around 2.2 million liter per day.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Shisha, just to clarify, the pumps and all are already existing. This is KHM Power is a sponsor of ITCall, which means that they have got the pump from ITCall from the grant model that we discussed yesterday. So the support that our project is giving is in terms of using the area below and between the solar pumps to do these additional activities like fish farming and chicken, poultry. So the rest of the infrastructure was already there.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Then in my list, I have Mari Charlotte, then Divya. Mari, please go ahead.
Yes, good morning. Thank you, Manjur, for this presentation. Very interesting work. I'm just very curious to know what is the financial income arrangement between KHM Power and the couple, especially the wife, who will be working either on on chicken farming and fish cultivation? Do they receive a fixed salary? Do they have a percentage on the selling of fish or chicken? How does that work, or how will that work?
So for the operator, we are appointing husband and wife as the operator as a irrigation and chicken farming. We are offering them the $19 per month. $19 per month. So wife and husband together, they get around $180 per month. They get in the salary, and our side, we are starting piloting with IWMI support. Then we have a 47 site in our under our company, and we have another 100 site is coming in this year. So our planning to invest all the project after the piloting is complete. So we are completing all the project under the chicken farming. So we have a more income and employ the more people, and we are also contributing the nutrition in the country contribution. So we are planning to big investment for our company.
Mm-hmm. So is the company already into poultry farming, or is this a new thing you are starting because you are already invested in solar and you have all this extra area?
This is actually our new pilot project. So we are not starting company, but we are after the project. We are, in the meantime, 2 months we are working. So we are also some advice taking from some professional chicken farming companies. So everybody appreciate. So in the meantime, 5 companies coming. Like in our country, as a big chicken farming company. One is Kaji Farm, CP. Then Nourish. So 5 company leader is coming. So after they visit our project, so they suggested this is the good environment for the farming, because the area is not under like a community. So there is a risk for the effect in the some virus, and the environment is very friendly for the farming growth. So they suggested this is very good, and our idea is very fantastic. Even they suggest us that if you go to the like a big business, so they are also support us as they increase the business. So our organization also encouraging after the comment coming from the some professional company.
Okay, thank you. Over to you, Divya.
Thank you so much, Aditi. Thank you, Manzoor, for giving us this presentation on the work that you've been able to do. We appreciate that it has been a very short time, as he said, since the work has started. My question is actually relating to the fact that with these add-on activities like fisheries and with the chicken farming, you will as a company also start, I assume, you start making additional income, which will contribute to your repayment of the loan that you have taken from IDCOL, right? Now, my question is that will a part of this, do you foresee that a part of this additional income will also offset the rate at which you sell irrigation to the farmers in this particular area which you are serving as a sponsor? Thank you.
Yeah. Definitely, this is our plan, because Aditi have a very good experience. Is coming in balance many times. So actually, we are fighting with the electric pump for the because our price is little higher than electric pump. So if our management have this kind of decision, if our income coming from agriculture is very good, that case we are considering the irrigation price reason is two. One is contributing the poor people, another is compete with the electric pump. So this is our plan, but before that, we need to ensure the pilot project is successful, and after the investment, the income is very good, then we can considering the irrigation price also.
Right. Yes, and that was a very good question, Divya. I had a similar question. Are there any further questions? Do I see any further hands? Okay, if not, I had a couple of questions, Manzoor. One was how much, I know it's a pilot project, so perhaps it's a bit early to ask, but how much percentage of the revenue do you expect these kind of allied activities can do? You can say it in percentage time. Perhaps your revenue now is, let's assume 100 taka. How much do you think this will add to your revenue, chicken farming and fish farming? That is one question. And the other question was more, what are the experts saying about the health of the chicken below these solar panels, given that there would be heat generated? Would the chickens be still insulated from the heat, or perhaps it's not relevant? Second, that you have the pond, well, it's the third question, that you have the pond next to it, and then you have all these panels on these poles and all. Would there be like questions around rust and corrosion and those kind of problems?
About the heating, so actually, you know, our side is actually middle of the field, so there is enough air and this kind of healthy environment for the chicken farming. So even our shed is little low, but actually when we are making the shed, we can make it little high, because the plan we are starting before, when initially we are starting the project. So if you visit our project, you can see our shed is little high compared with other sponsor, other company. So actually we are taking the suggestion when structure is made, that is, you can utilize future as a chicken farming. So that's why the heat is not a problem. Our that kind of expertise ensure us, and the environment is also good for chicken farming, because there is no local community. So actually, if local community is there, is many people is coming, so there is a risk for there being some virus. So actually, farming is very sensitive. So that kind of opportunity also we get. And another thing is our project is a different location. So if we are making a lot of project, actually one to different from another. So if even one side affected, so actually our, maybe we can make 100 projects. That means every project 1% contribution. That if any project affected, our 99 project is actually risk free. So that's why our business also not much risk in case of that kind of advantage. And benefit from the PARC project, our expert tell us at least we make four time in a year in the farming, 4 times. So we are expecting our, as a consultant tell us, $2,500 income will become after all the expenditure.
Sorry, this is what percentage? This is what percentage compared to your current income? Just very roughly.
From ITCOL side, per project income is around 4,500. So it's around 60% compared with the compared to the income.
Okay. Okay. Oh, that's excellent. Are there any further questions or clarifications?
If I may come in, I suppose the numbers you gave, the 2,500 is for poultry. Do you have also an estimation for fish farming?
Together 2,500. Oh, this is the net income considering all the cost.
Okay, with the two together, poultry plus fish cultivation. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Right.
Aditi,
yes.
Aditi, can I come in?
Yes, Dr. Sikka, please. I actually can't see everybody on the screen, so if only you raise hand, then I can see.
Yeah, no, I was trying to raise hand, but I don't know what happened. So, it was a nice presentation, and I'll just follow it up on what Aditi was asking. You see, when we design the poultry shed, there are certain standards for design of the poultry shed in terms of the structural requirements, heights, and also the air exchange, the exhaust and other things. So what I would suggest that the height has to be standardized in this case, because as you yourself were telling that, of course, there are certain panels which are with the lower heights. So you please have your expert, whoever is there, for designing this poultry shed. There are certain standard norms, and so I would advise that you consult them and try and look into that. Okay, and so that's what I would like to make an observation right now.
Okay, thank you for your observation, and future also we are want to try to make it more professional. But initially, when we are shared innovation, we are taking the advice from the consultant who is actually expert. So actually, even we can make some doing something actually overheating and the raining problem. So hopefully. The project will be run successfully, and also we are considering your suggestion in the future project.
Thank you.
Thank you, Manju. Thank you, Dr. Sikka. I think that is a good suggestion of some kind of standardized design, so that you are already putting in place the system for future scaling up. I can see Mr. Rajiv Gyani from International Solar Alliance. He has his hand raised.
Thank you, Dr. Titi. This is a very good initiative, but what is coming in my mind, I just want to share that all these being a solar project. So whatever activities we desire to integrate with the solar project, the generation of solar should not be compromised. I could see some points here, but I'll not, because I don't know the details of the projects, I'll not share those points. See, one should understand that the costliest part in this total project is the solar power plant. So whatever you do, whatever innovation you do, whatever integration you do, retrofitting you do, the basic thing we should keep in mind that there should be no generation loss. That should be kept in mind. Otherwise, for long term, it will not be a sustainable project. That is a just suggestion. Thank you.
Mr. Gyani, to follow, sorry, if you, Manjur, if you can give me a minute, why do you think that the generation may be under risk? Just a clarification from my side.
Okay. Okay.
Is there something design thing that would threaten generation?
Now I'll tell you. See, solar module needs proper ventilation. So if there is no ventilation, the back sheet of the solar module gets heated, and that tremendously affects the generation. This is one of the point. Okay.
Yes. Yes. Got it. Yeah. Manjur?
Because the nominal temperature, the temperature at which the highest generation is 25 degrees centigrade, and that particular temperature is at the back of the module portion. So that has to be kept in mind. It's a very small thing, but if you keep this in mind, lot of money is there, lot of thinking is there, lot of innovation is there. So if this is kept in mind, accordingly, you can design the project. There is no doubt on what has happened is fantastic, but it's a suggestion.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Yes.
Thank you, Rajiv.
Would you like to respond?
Yeah, thank you, Rajiv, for your suggestion. That's why we are telling, actually, we are pilot project, and we have a 47 project we have, and another 100 project is coming. So we are also interested. But before that, we want to say the positive and negative things. Actually, definitely, our main business is the irrigation and the solar power. So this one should not be hampered. So we have a lot of expertise, and also ITCO side will observing a lot of things. So actually, for the big opportunity we are studying, and one thing we are ensuring, Bangladesh is actually monsoon country, so our average temperature is around 30 degree in average. So actually not overheated, or the winter season also very like only 1 and 2 months. So, and also when we are making the shade, so our consultant and this one also are considering to overheating, and that's the thing. Also, you are suggest us, so we are more careful about study about this one.
Fine. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any further questions? If not, we can then move to our next presenter, that is SwitchON India. They are implementing their project in West Bengal. So neighbors, Bangladesh and West Bengal. Bonjour, would you unshare your screen, please? And,
Okay, sure.
and Mahashweta from, yeah, please.
Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to present. I am Mahashweta from SwitchON Foundation, the Deputy Project Manager. I'm handling the energy project. And
good morning, I'm Parul. I'm General Manager for Research and Programs. And let's get on with the presentation. And then we'll be taking questions.
yeah, I hope we are audible. So the project we got is a mini solar pump for women farmers, and it's like SwitchON is a not-for-profit social enterprise, and we have been working for the past 12 years in 4 sectors, mainly agriculture, energy, skills, and climate change. In this project, we are promoting solar pumps for small and marginal women farmers. So SwitchON's mandate is to work only with small and marginal farmers in East India. So in East India, 96% of the farmers are small and marginal. So the project is regarding this only. So these are the photo of some of the marginal women farmers where we installed our solar pumps, small and micro solar pumps. So the goal and objective was to reduce carbon emissions because the women farmers in this location mostly are dependent on diesel and kerosene for running their pumps. And due to rising diesel pumps, the rising prices of diesel in India, it had been very difficult for the women farmer to continue cultivating with diesel. So our main aim was to reduce carbon emissions and conserve natural resources and enhance the quality of life of such marginal farmers. So in the conservation of natural resources, we have also introduced drip irrigation along with micro solar pumps because in West Bengal there has been to reduce mostly the groundwater overuse because flood irrigation is mostly practiced. The uniqueness of the project is that we have created an ecosystem consisting of both the technological and financial innovation. So the technological innovation here is that we have brought micro solar pumps, like the size of the pump is 0.2 to 1 HP, and we have introduced an integrated model with drip irrigation. And the financial innovation here is we have established a revolving guarantee fund for women farmers, particularly women farmers in this case. So a guarantee fund here is we have we have provided a fixed the guarantee fund as a fixed deposit in our bank, which is RBL Bank, and the women farmers are getting loans against this guarantee fund. They do not have to provide any collateral against this. So the highlights of the project is all the women farmers are here have land holding which is less than 1 acre, and we have selected those farmers mostly, and they are mobile micro solar pumps. So one of the next action plans we have is to bring integrating this mobile micro pumps with processing unit, but this is our next action plan. We haven't started with. So in the pre-operative activity, we go and do block level meeting with the officers, and we collect data of the SAGs, and consequently we conduct exposure visits at the successful sites, and there we identify few progressive women farmers who come forward, and they are the major leaders who drive the whole project, who bring other women farmers as well under them, and we form water user groups. So in the water user group, usually there's one leader and 4 to 5 other farmers as well. So here we have we have already installed 5 pumps. Here is one of the demonstration visits which is done in now 24 Paraganas in West Bengal with the SHG groups. Till now, the targets and achievements I would like to mention here. So the target was to identify 120 projects. So the project started in November, and we immediately started whenever we got to know about this fund, we started working for it since August only. So we have already identified 100 projects, sites, and we have installed 5 solar pumps, 2 in January and 3 in February. We have also set up a revolving guarantee fund, separate revolving guarantee fund for women in November with RBL Bank, and we have already formed the water user groups, 5 water user groups. So the activities we have done is 38 field visit for sensitization, and within that 400 women farmers have already been sensitized. We have conducted 14 demonstration visits. So in the demonstration visit, we show the successful sites, and among that 200 women farmers has been sensitized. We have also installed 5 remote monitoring systems for the monitoring and evaluation, where we get to know about the water output and the use of the pumps. Yeah. So this is one of the photo of the sensitization of self-help groups at Jharkhand, Purulia. And the next plan of action is installing, like we had the mandate of installing 20 pumps. So in the next 1 year, we plan to install the 15 solar pumps and initiate the repayment of loans, and also install all the RMS remote monitoring systems. And then also operation and maintenance. We plan to create a helpline number for all the pumps that we install, so that in case there is an issue, they can call us and get get understanding of that. Although after installation of every solar pump, we give training to the women farmers so that they become independent, and they can do the operation and maintenance work. And at the end of this work, we plan to conduct 2 stakeholder meetings with the banks. So our project is mostly for the women farmers and small marginal farmers who are beyond the reach of the government schemes. So we want to create awareness among the banking sector, because there is a lot of reluctance among them to come forward and give loans to the women farmers, to the small and marginal farmers, because they do not have any collateral because of the history. So we want to create awareness. We want to create a whole ecosystem with the financial ecosystem, and yeah. So all the learnings we had is that revolving guarantee provide solar loans without any collateral to the women farmers. So in this case, we also want to promote, reach to the government, and also suggest them regarding thinking of bringing a guarantee fund, so that the bank comes forward, because even after subsidy, there are banks who who are reluctant to come forward and give the loans. We also think that whenever we give solar pumps in West Bengal, there is till now there has been no grid connection facility. So we want to connect all the solar pumps with drip irrigation, so that there is increased groundwater efficiency, so that they do not practice flood irrigation as much, and they understand the importance of the water. So we are giving some package of practices to the farmers as well. Mobilization is going on, and for practicing vegetable cultivation during Rabi season. Also, one other thing is water user groups regulate the selling price of water, which ensures equity. So in the water user group, there are regular meetings which take place, where the price of selling water during a particular season is decided among everyone, which helps in like those farmers who are not able to buy even a 1 HP solar pump. They also get equitable share of water. So that is the main aim. And also women water user groups are trained on operation and maintenance, making them independent as well as responsible for their solar pumps, so that they are not dependent on us. Although we'll be available through the helpline number, but this is one of the aims. And
yeah, 2 things I'd like to add in the learnings here. When we're looking at water user groups that regulate the selling price of water, we're also sort of looking at, what are the regulations that we can actually bring in, so that the groundwater table is not affected to a stage where we start suffering and there's scarcity. So we're also trying to bring in regulations. We're also doing certain studies actually in different sites where we're trying to map water level and aquifer level, so that we can sort of create a short-term and a long-term impact, and then sort of sensitize, release regulations, work with those regulations with the government, and sensitize the farmers and the water user group especially. One of the other things that we want to look at, when we're talking about training the water user group on operation and maintenance, is also trying to create an alternative livelihood option if the women actually come forward as training as maintenance experts. So if in addition to the system that we have, there are several other locations also where we work, and usually it is not very easy in these remote locations to find mechanics. So one of the things that we're trying to introduce in the system is to train them as mechanics, so that an alternative livelihood option can be created. And I think that brings us to the end of our presentation. We're happy to take questions.
Yes. Thank you so much for a very excellent presentation. If you don't mind, if you unshare your screen, then I can also see the rest of the participants and can, yeah. Okay. Questions, please. Okay, Divya, yes, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Aditi. Thank you, Mahashweta. Thanks for sharing this interesting presentation. I think this was one of the most interesting proposals that we had looked at. This was one initiative which was actually looking at financial models, innovative financial models, and loan-based, shall I say, options for smallholder farmers, and especially in this case, women, to access irrigation services through solar pumps. So in that sense, it is something very interesting that we're looking forward to results of that as well. I'm just curious that you already said that since November you have already put in place 5 solar pumps. My understanding is that these are group owned. You said that you have set in these water users groups. My understanding is it is a group owned pump. So the loanee the loan taker is actually the group itself and not an individual. Am I right or wrong?
It's an individual.
It's an individual, but we create water user groups as well. So where the water is like sold, where there are 5 farmers, like one farmer takes the loan and the other farmers get the water at a particular regulated price, which is decided among each other.
So these are individual owners?
Yes, individual owners.
But they're aligned to a water user group. Essentially, the model is that they have to be aligned to the group to keep this going. So when they also, like, the MOUs are internally discussed and worked on, so there is a entire water user group, and that's how they bring together. Even though the challenge with the loan system is that they can't disperse it to a group. They RBL Bank specifically right now, so it is towards individual farmers, but the larger mandate is the group formation and working largely with the group.
Also
and
being
the drip irrigation. Sorry. Yeah.
And also being responsible for the operation and maintenance as a whole.
Okay. And is the drip irrigation is part of the loan that comes for so it's a combination package, or is it 2 different components? The drip irrigation is through subsidy from the government, and this pump is through loan. Just curious.
Yeah, both are with subsidy. The drip irrigation is through PM-KSY scheme, and this one is FSSN scheme. Solar pump is FSSN scheme, which is under government of West Bengal.
So we're combining 2 different government schemes for solar and then for micro irrigation.
Okay. Have the farmers already started repaying the loan component, since November till now? Not yet.
No, not yet. Like after 3 months, we started installation in January, so it will start from April.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Divya. I see next Orchishman, after that Shishir and Alok. Orchishman, please go ahead.
Yeah, so I have 2 questions. One is what is the plan if there is damage in the panels in terms of loan repayment, like if there's a climate disasters? And also, what are the particulars of the loan in terms of interest rate, repayment, average size of loan? Is there equity component? Like if you can tell a bit more about the structure of the loan. Yeah.
Okay, so the whole service is included. So we have a sister concern, which is Honorgy, who actually produces and installs the solar irrigation pumps. They create the solar panels, and they also have one thing which is asset buyback. So in case the farmer is not able to pay the loan, they go and buy back it from the farmers. So this is one of the important component. So for the first year, if the farmer is not able to pay the loan within the first year only, they get 65%. The bank gets 65% of the loan amount. So this is this whole thing is included within our plan, within our service plan. So in case in case there's a damage, we already have it within the servicing part. Yes. Interesting.
Okay,
We had
thank
one
you.
more question. We had one more question, Orchishman?
Yes, about the loan structure in terms of the interest rate and repayment period.
It depends upon case to case. Depends upon the size of the pump, actually 0.2 to 1 HP pump. So the average size of loan is like around 1 lakh because it's a small pump. And yeah, yes.
And the interest rate is also like banking, like
yeah, interest rate is as per the rule, MCLR rule.
The minimum to maximum, what is the range?
11 to 13. 11 to 13%, yeah.
Okay, and the repayment period? It's
repayment period varies actually. I think it's 2 years.
Yeah, under 2 years.
Under 2 years. Under 2 years.
But also it varies according to the land size and the pump size. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Oh, that's a rather short repayment period. Okay, I have a question from Shishir. After that, Alok and Mari Charlotte and Tushar. So four people. Yeah. Shishir, will you go ahead?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, SwitchON is doing a great job. So I was just curious that you guys are trying to integrate different technologies. Like you are working with solar technology, then there is drip irrigation, then there is a water requirement for crops. So you need agriculture experts. So I was just curious, how does SwitchON manage? Do you have in-house expertise, or like you outsource those expertise?
Okay, so we have a sister concern who produces the solar panels actually. So they handle the technological part of producing the solar pumps and installation. In the case of water requirement of crops, we have a whole branch in SwitchON itself, which is agriculture team who handles the package of practices and water requirement for crops.
So basically, the top things that SwitchON works on at the moment, we work in the area of renewable energy. We also work in climate smart agriculture. We also work in FPO formation with NABARD, and we work on water also. So these are the larger verticals. We work on energy, water, agriculture nexus, and bringing that together because these are linked. So we have an in-house team of researchers, agronomists, consultants. We work with IITs and departments, technical universities departments. We take a lot of interns as the requirement of the project comes in. So it's a very dynamic technical and social background, everything like a mixed team.
So from the next time, we will also be introducing groundwater recharge programs under the help of IITs and some interns as well. We haven't done it till now, but we will be doing it the next time.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Over to you, Alok.
Yes. So I think what I would like to know, two things, which you mentioned about that you will be looking into some groundwater norms and the regulations. Can you be specific in which area you are working and what are those kind of groundwater norms for overexploitation or whatever you have in mind? That's one thing. And the other one is, of course, not directly connected with that. That's regarding the seed money, which is going to go into the RGF. And after the project is over, then how that seed money is going to be handled and how it will keep on revolving and who is trying to be looking after that. So these two questions I have with you.
So, okay, so about our work on, so the thing is that we are actually getting into, so till now, SwitchON has been doing a lot of implementation work in Eastern India, specifically Bengal, specifically West Bengal. And I think there's a time when we realize, okay, the need is to get into the need to get into creating a stakeholder network and to understand and conduct studies to look into the viability of these technologies and the kind of effect that they have eventually, because we are all aware that mitigation is one aspect of climate change, and adaptation especially is also another aspect that we want to pay attention on, and we want to also get into a lot of evidence-based, data-based studies, look into a lot of data, because also we realize that in the alluvial soil region in West Bengal, there aren't a lot of studies that are on groundwater recharge. So there's a lot of work on arsenic, on water quality, the kind of effect it has on crops. But we also want to look at the water level and to what level are aquifers or spring water, and why are they drying up, in which season they're drying up, what are the regeneration strategies that we can come up with. And all this piece will then completely largely feed into a policy piece where we want to work with of course other non-profits groups and communities, but we also want to take it to the government, regional government, take it up nationally also perhaps at one point, to make very strict regulation mandates where pumps are installed, where there is, we know that water is being extracted, and we know what happens after over a period of time, even with certain regulations, if there aren't, if legally they're not put in place, what happens. So that is why we work, currently we're working with micro irrigation, but we want to expand it and take it forward to look into stricter regulations in the next we want to actually look at it in the next year immediately, actually, hopefully. But we really want things like this to come out from the eastern region as quickly as possible.
So one of the belief in East India especially is that we have enough water. So in West Bengal, whenever we go to, like many people, they believe that we do not require recharge because West Bengal receives a lot of water, it receives a lot of rainfall, has enough rivers. So there's recharge is not required. But the farmers have started facing the problem. So we are promoting solar pumps, and we do not want to create a disaster by promoting a solar pump. We do not want the groundwater to be exploited by promoting solar pumps.
So they're already, we're facing seasonally, we are facing scarcity, and we want to look into how this can be sort of curbed at a certain level. So because we are working with pumps, it should be our mandate to also look at groundwater and aquifer recharge and groundwater levels. In relation to the second question about seed money,
so it is a revolving guarantee fund. So once the installation of the 20 pumps happens, it will revolve for other women farmers. It will go on to other women farmers. So it's, the project is our idea
is maintained.
Sustainability. Our main aim was to make the project financially sustainable. So not only the 20 farmers will be benefited, 20 women farmers will be benefited. So even after the successful implementation, we will be using this places as exposure visits. So we'll bring other women farmers as and show them the successful models. And even we can, if the money is left from the revolving guarantee fund, we'll be using it for other women farmers as well.
Oh, that's fine. That will be revolved for this revolving fund. But my specific question is that once this project is finished in 2 years, what are the mechanisms in place to try and ensure that this money is going to be utilized? Because otherwise it will be just lying with the bank if they are not kind of revolving it later on. So there has to be some kind of a mechanism in place, even for the use of the revolving fund after the project is over. Because it's going to be recouped, it's going to be recouped. So it's not the debt fund or a sink fund. It's going to be live for many, many years.
Yeah, so that is the plan. So when we are working, that is.
But where is your plan? That's what we are asking. That's what we written in the beginning also when we had discussed, So you want to know what is the mechanism or the plan you have in place?
So the plan, sir, right now is basically once this user group, once this group of women, the project gets over, that's why we have specific MOUs with the banks. So right now that the contract that we have is with RBL Bank. So once this user group, once this money is paid off, then we will associate more women with the same seed money. And then this system will work in sustainability in the same manner and replicate like itself in every 2 or 3 years, which is the repayment amount, the time that they will take for repaying the loan.
Okay. So I think it might be useful to have this another round of discussion around these plan. Maybe we can do it, offline at any convenient
yes, Aditi,
time.
I think let's engage on this separately.
Yes, let's engage on this separately. These are important points. I have now Mari, after that Tushar, and then Divya. And we have just 6 minutes left till we have to move on to the next presentation. So let your questions be brief and answers be brief too. What if I take the 3 questions together and then you can answer it all together? Mari, please go ahead.
Okay, I'll go quickly. I have 2 questions, sorry. The first one is, so thank you first, thank you both of you for this very interesting work, fascinating. My first point is just to know, how do they access a tube well? Because I suppose so the project is about getting access to the pump and to the solar pump and to the drip system, but how do you ensure that these women already have or will have access to a tube well? I just wonder about that one. The other question is the main constraint you're looking at is for women accessing the technologies is about the loan. In your experience, do you see any other constraints for women to access to those technologies?
Right. Thank you, Mari. To clarify your first question, you want to know what is the means of water extraction, if they have access to a shallow tube well or a deep tube well, that's like to which the pumps and the panels are attached. That was your first.
And to whom does these tube wells belong?
To belong. Okay, yeah. Just to clarify. So will you just note it down and come back? Now I over to Tushar, please.
After we decided on including this project, the Reserve Bank of India made an important decision. They allowed financing of solar pumps under the priority sector financing. Now that basically creates pressure for the banks to lend for solar pumps, and it also creates pressure for banks to lend at a lower rate, lower rate of interest, which is applicable to PARC. Has this had any impact on the financing environment on solar pumps? So I think this group should know. I think Mahashweta, and they should have a good idea about how does it work on the ground. Have they got any benefit from this new provision?
Good. Thank you. And Divya, please, you go ahead.
So
and
just
then
very
they can answer
quickly,
all together.
Right. Thank you so much, Aditi. So just very quickly, very briefly, initially my understanding, my thought was that this is actually about selling of water, but it seems that actually they are just when we talk about water user group, it's actually about, it seems like it is about selling just the service of providing this particular solar pump to another water user in a particular area. So what is the minimum number of or rather land parcel that needs to be served for this one particular individual who's taking a loan to service that loan within 2 years, just that question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Was that clear? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, how much do you need to irrigate to break even, kind of?
Yeah. First of all, clarity whether it is water selling or is it about just the service of water pump being given out to as a as a service, and secondly, what is the area required to be irrigated?
Yeah. Mahashweta, please go ahead. You had 4 questions.
Yeah. So first question was access to tube wells. So it is actually groundwater submersible pumps which we have promoted. So the technology is mostly groundwater, like they extract groundwater. And second, any technological constraints? So no, we do not have any technological constraint because they have been using diesel pumps previously. So like in case there's any issue, like we reach out to, like they reach out to us and we like solve the operation and maintenance. The third question was,
sorry, Mahashweta, who owns these submersible tube wells? These are like what they call as mini, right?
Yeah, mini solar power.
Yeah. So who owns these submersible these bore wells or tube wells, and whose plot are these owned by the grantee, the person to whom you give the loan? They have it already on their plot.
Yes, yes, they already have it on their plot.
Okay.
So the third one was the priority sector lending. So yeah, so we have been reaching out to to many of the national banks, public sector banks, since last year for priority sector lending, but till date there has been no impact. Like we have not, like, we have been reaching out to Punjab National Bank, Indian Bank, but it has been very slow. Like, it's one of the major problems we have been facing. The loan, they are quite reluctant till now, even after having their priority sector targets. Even after the RBI targets that have been set, there has been no change. It's in same. It's very difficult to sensitize the banks. So we are trying to create awareness among them, but still now it's at a very nascent stage. And minimum land, it's actually less than 1 acre. So fourth question. So the minimum land that can be minimum land service will be under 1 acre. That is the mandate. So,
and
yeah.
and Divya's other question was, is that actually the water that is being sold, or because I believe these are fixed pumps, so chances are it's the water that is being transported from through whatever lined or unlined channels to field after field, because you can't be actually physically transporting the pump from one field to another.
Yes, it's actually the neighboring farmers, so it's connected to the pipes.
But it's the water that is sold, right?
Yes, the water is sold.
I think that was Divya's question was that, right? Whether the pump is being rented or the water is being sold.
What water is being sold?
Water is being sold.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Was there anyone? Tushar, did you want to come in?
Yeah, no, I just want to ask, what's the difference?
No. It's I mean, with diesel pumps you would rent the equipment and then farmers would fill in their own diesel, that kind of a thing. So I think Divya's question was whether these pumps are solar pumps are mobile, and then buyers take it to their own field, that kind of thing. Am I correct, Divya? Did I understand it correctly?
That's right. I actually thought in the presentation they said that these are mobile pumps.
Right.
Yes, they are mobile pumps, but actually they are like the pumps are not given to the other farmers. We actually have plan of integrated it with the processing unit, but in future, not now, we haven't started anything of that sort. They are mobile pumps, but the water is sold. Like the whole structure is not given to other farmers.
Right. Thank you.
Right. And actually, it's interesting. I believe in Nepal also SIPs are included in the priority sector lending. But in reality, banks, we found that yesterday we had a participant from NMB Bank, and when I used to work in Nepal, we had a long discussion. There is a lot of resistance because this is it's very unknown, and it's out there in the open. So banks, we found, were very unwilling. So it's really interesting to see that even with all the RBI regulations, in reality, banks are still unwilling. I don't know, Tushar, if you have a different experience in Gujarat. Is it would it be?
Well, I think I would have thought that private banks would be more enthusiastic, because private banks are under greater pressure to meet the priority sector target. So just working with SBI and Punjab National Bank would probably not help us go very far. But if we approach HDFC Bank or ICICI or Axis Bank, we might probably listen more attentively.
Same thing happened to us, like Axis Bank and RBL Bank, they were more willing to come forward. And even we had set it up with the revolving guarantee fund with RBL Bank only. But for Punjab National Bank and Indian Bank, it's been like 6 months and they're still like saying, yeah, yes, we'll do it. But the movement is very slow.
You know what? I think, Mahashweta, you should try Axis Bank Foundation first.
Axis Bank, we have already partnered with.
Not Axis Bank Foundation. They are around, and I think they are very keenly interested in this, in supporting this sort of projects in which they can develop sound priority sector advanced portfolio.
Okay. Okay, we'll try.
So one of the things that we've learned that, sorry, am I cutting you? What I wanted to share is one of the things that we've learned through this is that the need to push for like, climate smart investing or green investing. So one of the things, the largest things that we could work, we want to work in the future is like to come up with a list of, what are the green sectors that banks should actually loan on a priority basis. When it comes to green climate financing, that's actually one of the things that should definitely be looked at. Just creating that structure and those regulations and those calculations for them so that this fits in that thing and can be prioritized and be given a different kind of treatment altogether.
Yeah.
The larger climate debate, yeah.
And from the project side, from the solar project side, I think actually documenting this as a case study would be quite interesting for us. So I hope you are doing all the documentation that's required, and as soon as it's possible for us to travel, we would really like to come and talk to some of these women farmers. And we are especially interested in this O&M part that you are training. I think that's a big gap in the market, how to service these farms. So yeah, overall very good. Thank you so much for your update, and we look forward to regular updates like quarterly meetings and things like that. And we should certainly have one about the RGF, which I think
Yes,
is a
definitely.
point that Dr. Sikka raised, and that's a very valid point. Now I come to the third presenter. We are running 5 minutes late, which is okay, I suppose. I'm now requesting our colleagues from KARMA Power to come and make the presentation. Who is representing
yeah,
KARMA?
so this is Saroj Naik.
Okay.
So
Yes.
I'll share the slide. Good morning, ma'am. And Suraj is there also. So let me share the slide. Can you see my slide? Can you see my slide,
Yes,
ma'am?
yes,
yeah. Okay,
yes,
great.
we can see. Yes, if you can put it in the
Yeah,
PowerPoint mode.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
All right. Here you go. So thank you so much again, and I'll be quick to tell what we promised and where we are. So there will be a little bit of background, and for the people who didn't had knowledge about our proposal, they'll also get to the speed. So we are a team. I'm Saroj Naik. I'm a professor and dean faculty at IIT Bhubaneswar. I'm a technical part. So Suraj Kumar, whose PhD students now submitted the thesis, now the vice president of the startup KARMA from IIT Bhubaneswar, which is incubated also at IIT Delhi. He's there other side. We have a partner with Vladimir Vulovic. He is a professor at MIT, and they have the Grid Edge, the Center of Excellence. Their team, Flisum is a startup from Swiss, and they are our panel customized partners. And our idea is that mobile solar in what do we call mobile urja. And for this project, we'll be focusing on primarily on irrigations, but other power sectors, particularly for the agriculture, for example, running a small mill and so on. But that's the next one. But for this project, we are focused on mobile solar as a power, and I'll clarify that what I mean by that. And so that we'll have also a universal charging system, so that the technicality it will be smooth at the ground, and that's the plan. We had, this startup, it's about 5-year-old. We have about 30 people working on this. So we started this, we introduced with IIT Bhubaneswar, introduced the first solar micro pump in India that is certified by Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. So what does it mean? That up until our pump was certified, there was none certification was there below 1 HP for meaningful irrigations. And we had a challenge to get certification because there was none. But anyway, to be giving the credit to the ministry, they were convinced, and we have what we think one of the high discharge pump with the minimal panel. So that's the niche of the panel. So typically our panel size is about 500 watt. And with the surface pump, we get 75,000 liter per day. It's about 8 hours. You can get that much, power. We collaborate with Kirloskar to customize the pump, and we also collaborate with different solar, 2 or 3 solar companies, OEM, so that they can, make what we exactly need in terms of the VOC and other things about the panel. But the certification goes to the KARMA and KARMA markets it at the ground. But the problem, as we have seen yesterday, today, particularly small and marginalized farmers, right? So, why it was a big deal micro pump, as 1 HP and higher pump, in my knowledge, that it was targeted for farmer like 5 HP, 10 HP was targeted for European Union or US farmers who have 10 acre or more land. And our farmers typically have less than 2 acre land. And fortunately, as MIT studies search, more than 50% of India has the water level within 15 feet, particularly, perennial source and so on. So for those kind of need, we don't need that many high, discharge pumps. And the flip side of that also, as you have seen in Punjab and other area where you have huge high HP pumps, free electricity, non-intentional, but nevertheless, the output is that we have adjusted the groundwater. So our idea is that small pump targeted to farmers and particularly, utilizing the surface water. So, and giving access as a mobile, because there is a theft, there is other issues that comes into the picture. We had done that with the silicon technology, but then in the ground, what happened, particularly, if you have like, areas like this, it's difficult for one person particularly to take this, silicon-based solar panel, although they're using it, but it's difficult. You need 2 persons. So we wanted to have a lightweight panel, flexible panel with the same kind of things, and we tied up with MIT. And we did a prototype, and that's what the thing is. This is another one which is working now in UP, but this is for larger farmers. I mean, farmers who have 2 acres above, and also they are doing, like it is not, they are doing, crops which is very high intensive water. So we're discouraging them, but anyway, that's a different story. But here also, if you go to 2 HP and higher, the panel cannot go with the existing panel cannot go with the cycle rickshaw. You need tractor, trolley, and something like that. So I'll skip that one. And so the idea is that we'll customize the panel, and FLISM readily agreed, just to make the short, story short. And they have made the panels according to what our need in terms of the ground need is, and this is based on copper, indium, gallium selenide technology. And later on, we'll be using, nicer features like IoT, so that we can track and people can track. We meaning that the what we call Farmer Solar Club can track and utilize much more than manually they can use otherwise. So that's the what it is. Just a quick view of the prototypes. So this is the panel that can go with the trolley. I'll be quick because I have less time. So again, for the sake of completeness, for people who have not seen earlier, this is the pump and this is the panel. Actually, one person can take it. The reason they were doing 2 is because they wanted to be in the video, but literally you can come when the site visit comes, you can see that it's a very lightweight panel and it can go from one place to another place. So this person is taking it in a smooth ride, but it can also go to little tough areas. So, so that is what it is, and this is the panel, and we'll see the discharge in a quick video, and then we'll go back and say what we have done in the ground so far beyond the prototype. So yeah, so this is the lightweight panel, flexible, right? And it's about less than 10 kg. That's what it is. As we speak, we are also utilizing silicon panel because people need water, particularly this kind of weather. Now we don't have, particularly in Eastern India, in Odisha, particularly rain since the monsoon. So desperately people need water for irrigations. So we are utilizing right now as we speak with the silicon technology. But this is something that is coming out in the next few months. We'll be sending this to at least 5 sites. So this kind of the discharge with the 500 watt panel you can get. So I'll just close it here. You can also transmit to larger distance, but I'll close it here. So the 2 places that we're focusing on right now, because of our experience earlier with partners, plus to different locations, just to give a different idea that what works in Koraput, Odisha, whether that can be working in Uttar Pradesh, particularly in Bahari, close to the Nepal border. And we envision, hopefully within this community, we can partner with our Nepal colleagues. And I have a postdoc who is now a professor at Kathmandu. He has shown interest. Bahari is about, I believe, 200 kilometers from the border, and we want them to come and visit and see and possibly again utilize this in Nepal. But what also happened, we have formed now over the last few months Farmer Solar Club, and I'll talk about that in the next slide. In addition to Uttar Pradesh, Koraput, we have started work in Tripura and also another place in Odisha, which is Kandhamal district. The reason is that, again, this idea about the movable and sharing, so what I call Uberization of irrigation, seems to be attractive, and I'll talk about it a little bit, in the next slide also. So, yeah, so of course, these are the things is well known to all of you, so I'll not dwell this one. We have heard from other talks, talks that the challenge really is, right, for a small and marginal farmers, they're paying much more than, a big farmer or you and me paying for electricity. That is really sad, because they're using diesel and all those things with a higher rate compared to electricity that I get in my house. But their challenge is, upfront cost. And I think we had a questions about the bank, and I can tell you a little bit about that with our experience. I mean, in fact, I will follow up with the suggestion that whether Axis Bank and other banks will be, helping us. HDFC we approached, but they didn't have the branches in those areas. So that has been one of the challenges. They're willing to do in where they have the branches, and that makes sense, but they don't have branches in the very remote area where we are working. And that is why we're not able to work with the private banks. But, even cooperative bank, which is supposed to, work at the ground level, similar to the story that we heard, we have been working during COVID, after COVID, I mean, after, somewhat normalization now, even for, 20,000 rupees loan, they take about 6 months, they do clearance, all those things. And I tell the branch manager, I'm not criticizing anybody, I'm telling about the system. I told that, when I was a kid, my father got our house only after retirement, because he had to save all the money to get our house done, right? Whereas my assistant professor at IIT now, the moment they join IIT Bhubaneswar, they get a house, which is remarkable. That is because of the credit, right? So why and I can get a credit for a house, but a poor farmer sitting there asking it very limited amount, 20,000 rupees. Why 20,000? I'll tell you. Our solar pump currently, for example, is 60,000. We have a KFW IRIDA program where we give 20%, what do you call it, discount. So, 48,000 is the half HP pump that I showed you there with the silicon panel. 48,000 total, everything, and 3 years maintenance free. Farmer, these marginal farmers, they're putting 20,000 rupees cash. So 28,000, and the bank is saying no. I mean, no means basically they're not doing. They'll never say no. So anyway, so what we found out that, instead of, we are not giving up the hope, but in the process, what we found, there are farmers are desperate. We said we form a farmer solar club. So then the trolley, that costs around another 15,000 or so. So 75,000 rupees with the trolley, with the pump, pipes, fitting, 3-year maintenance and everything. And if there are 2 farmers, we'll give KFW credit. It goes around 25,000 for each. Some farmers are able to pay. As I said, 20,000, they have no hesitation to pay upfront, right? Because they know that, in 3 months, they can sell about 50,000, 60,000 vegetables. And that's what they do, actually. I go there and see there, and I see we have a, what we call a half-acre model with our partner, Pragati. Income, if you give this access, you don't have to give anything more than just the water, because they have all other things with them. Easily 1 lakh to 1.5 lakh after their, own consumptions. So 20,000 they're able to pay. We are giving 12,000 credit. The subsidy or whatever the discount. And if they can get together with another farmer, we are making them 2 to 10 maximum. We have created 5 of this farmer solar club. And bank link, as I said, where we have done 3 so far with PNB over the last 6 months. So we have linked to the bank, PNB to their credit. They did 3. After 3, I think they probably realize, okay, they have done their job. So they can tick mark, they have done 3. There are minimum in that area, in that branch, minimum at least 50 farmers are waiting. They all have land on their name, 20,000 down payment, our KFW credit, but still bank is not going as fast as go. Anyway, I mean, the other point also, we're working with other CSR funds so that they can chip in. One challenge is that, as I told you, that we have to go beyond silicon, and this is what we have done. With FLISM, we have been working over the last, I would say, 3 months, and finally they have customized the panel, tested, and this is on the way. KARMA didn't have the import.
You have 2 more minutes. Sorry
Yeah.
to interrupt you.
No,
Dr.
thank you.
Just
Yeah,
2 more minutes.
Yeah, sure. I should be done. And that panel is on the way, so we should be expecting by March 15th, and that is yesterday the email came that everything is ready. They should be arriving here on March 15th, and so we'll move the CIGS panel that you showed there in addition to the silicon panel that we have given, and we'll target, as we have promised in the proposal, up to 3 HP, in the next 2 years. We have already shown for 5 HP, which is what you have seen. There are demands for 1 and 2 HP, and we really discourage. We work with our partners like JK Paper, CSR, and other CSR. We go out of the way, although it will be easier for us to sell a 2 HP pump compared to a half HP pump, but we truly believe, as some of you do share, the water now is a crisis. And if we find a perennial source, even a canal little far away, we go out of way, we send our technical team, we had to do borewell. We really had to do borewell unless it's absolutely necessary. So as I said, we are focusing on this one using the perennial source, even, like a dog well or open well, which is okay because they're all surface water. But borewell we had to do unless, of course, absolutely necessary. There is no source and so on. So our target is up to not go beyond 3 HP because of, as I said, over extraction of the water. But 70% will focus on the 0.5 HP because that's enough for even up to 5-acre land. And so that is it, our thing. So this is our team. We thank you for your support and attention. Financial part, Suraj can answer, but any technical things, both of us can answer. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Professor Nayak and Suraj and the entire team. Now I open for question and answer. Please raise your hand or type in your questions on the chat. And you may want to unshare your screen.
Right.
Stop screen sharing.
Sure,
please.
sure. There we go. Thank you.
I just had a minor question, if I could.
Yes, Labisha, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Saroji. That was a very interesting presentation. I just wanted to follow up on the situation of finance that you were talking about. You said you had also approached, I think, cooperatives. Could you talk a little bit about that experience of maybe trying to work with microfinances as well? Because as you mentioned, 28,000, of course, is not a very big amount. And microfinances and particularly agriculture cooperatives, they work in financing agriculture and hopefully progressively non-agri inputs as well. So how did that go, or if they did not show any interest?
Right. So that's a very good point. We approach microfinance. In fact, we have a working relations with it. At least one with a leading microfinance company. They don't have in those areas where we are working on the irrigation side. So for, we have another program where for electricity, like inverter, solar, home lighting system, those are more, though there the microfinance works, but one of the major thing that we found, as we know, the microfinance interest rate is a little large. It's about 20%, right? So that is they don't have the microfinance around that region. In fact, if you any of you come, will travel to the site that you can see. It's beautiful. It's pristine, but and luckily the roads are good. But it's a town, and it's in fact those areas, I mean, for us it's not doesn't matter, but what we hear is some of those areas at Maoist area and so on. But frankly, we didn't have any problems. We had never ever issued any of those kinds, and we worked there day and night. So those areas are not accessible for, let's say, microfinance still now. So cooperative, they have lamps that call lamps, which is a very small branch of the cooperative. They should be able to do it. And we had done in the past with the NABARD linkage, hundreds of farmers with them. But it's unfortunately what happens, our experience, it's because of this, few people in the system. So, order comes in the top, but few people can just completely block it, right? Again, I'm not criticizing anybody, but I'm saying that that's the way the system works. If you find 2-3 people, very, progressive people, they want to take a challenge because the law is there and the rule is there, they'll have no issue. They'll make it happen. And that's what happened in the 2 years back when we worked with similar areas with the cooperative bank. But now we are facing, kind of a very difficult in terms of really accessing this. PNB agreed, they wanted to do something. They did for 3, but not for 30. And every day our person goes, the salesperson goes, sit down, convince him, give him cash, give him post-dated check, give him all the, land records of these people. Actually, these people we're talking about, they have also land record, right? So they have this one. But then the energy goes out so much. Then we decided, we'll do parallel. We can't wait this to happen. We'll do parallel. We'll just share it. And let's see if that happens. And we'll link us to various programs like, if there is a donor from a, let's say, CSR fund, we're talking to another CSR fund saying that you chip in and everything goes to the farmer's account. All our the farmers that we have gathered, they all have bank accounts and so on. So it's very transparent. We said that you don't have to give us, you just give it directly to the farmer. The same thing we tell to the bank. We are not in the picture. You come, you ask somebody else to give this similar pump with a similar price, we'll reduce it 20% because that's a challenge to us. Why can't we make same quality with a less price that somebody else is making? It doesn't matter which country. So that's how we have been moving.
Yeah. So I think it's kind of well understood that actually getting finance from the market is very, very challenging in the context of small farm. I have 2 more questions, one from Corinne and Divya, both from STC. Please, Corinne, go ahead.
Yes, sir, thank you so much for this very good presentation. My question was, this has a huge potential to bring solar energy to smallholding farmers. So I was wondering, worldwide, is it an invention that is worked upon in other countries as well, or is it really your invention now here bringing it forward because it has a huge potential? And then can you just tell us maybe in terms of building them, are there particular challenges in terms of the technicality of these panels? Is it very difficult to build them or to maintain them? Is there something, maybe also a reason why we've not seen them more widespread in the market?
Right. So a very good point. So the first question, is it invention for us? That's what we believe, and that's what MIT believe. That's what the FLISM believes, that we have not seen this flexible panel integrated to a solar micro pump with that kind of capacity, with this minimal panel, that we have not seen. And this is an open challenge to anybody to prove us wrong, but that's what we have seen. So yes, this is a unique one, and as you correctly pointed out, we see huge potential in Bangladesh, Nepal, and even Africa, because many were, as Ghana and those areas, the water level is not a challenge, and this pump can go to up to 60 feet. We had a submersible version, we didn't show it, but the surface pumps can go to 30-35 feet easily, and submersible version with the same panel size can go. The second point you had is the panel is challenging. The panel is a little bit of challenging. There are not just one company, there are a few companies, and in fact we have approached a few companies, but then the cost has to be effective. But with the silicon still, if we are able to manage with the silicon, which is everywhere except that they have to be customized, which is not hard, which is not at all hard. So if you look at the flexible panel, that is a little expensive, and also there's a little harder, but there are multiple companies coming out. And we had a call with a startup from Stanford. They're doing the same thing. They got the data from us in terms of the potential and so on. I think that company is coming out. My understanding is also coming out, and there are a few others. It's not just one. I would say a couple of definitely there in the market. So I think we are looking for a way to scale up this. And with the silicon one, which is a little less technicality, but it has to be customized, and it can be done quite routinely, little heavier, But people don't have that one. They're willing to carry a little heavier to get the energy access, to get the water, than waiting for something to happen in the next few years.
Right. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Over to you, Divya.
Thank you so much, Aditi, and thank you, Professor Nayak, for sharing details of this project. Very interesting, something that we are very, from Swiss SDC's side also, we are very keenly watching in terms of how especially the CIGS technology pans out in the country. My only question is, now you already, I think, partially answered it, but I would still like to understand it better. When you change, the system from the thin solar silicon-based panels to the CIGS technology now, which you are importing from Switzerland at the moment, what is going to be the likely change in terms of the cost of this particular pumping system for you, and how does that affect its adoption by the farmers? Thank you.
Right. So that's again another very important question. So the cost, because the controller, the pump, they are not going to change. It's only the panel, the cost will increase. So I'm just giving a rough number. For example, if I say this price, this price is open, and it's 60,000 rupees currently with the silicon technology and so on. Total panel, controller, pump, everything, including pipe, 3 or free warranty, anywhere in India through Kirloskar network. So we have a tie-up with Kirloskar so that anywhere in India happens. We have installed, around 400 to 500 pumps over the last 3-4 years. Hardly 1% have any problem. Again, that's another challenge that is there, and we are out there. Coming back to the new CIGS technology, for example, CIGS technology panel, it's about, so if it's the 60,000, we expect for the same pump, I think it will increase to 110,000. So double, almost double, right? Right. So how you do that with this one? So this is where we tie up with CSR funding so that they can chip in a little bit and more farmers can chip in. So for example, the heavy ones has some restrictions. So, or not all farmers can access it. So in terms of farming group, the CIGS technology allows you to A, access to many farmers, and B, it also gives access to larger pumps like 1 HP, 2 HP pumps, which is very difficult with the silicon technology. So, and the price of that, for example, let's say 1 HP, let's say 1 lakh with silicon, maybe it will be 1.8 lakh with the CIGS technology. But still, the people who are using 1 HP or 2 HP, they prefer A because of the theft. They don't want to leave that one. And silicon, in any way, we cannot carry 2 kilowatt panel up and down with a cycle. So it's not one size fits all. Half HP, we still see that the silicon can be used with because it's attractive. People who want to go 2 HP, particularly people who are working with the multiple farmers already with this, giving the silicon based solar pump, they have already. So to give you a number, we already have about 5 already advance payment from CSR or NGO based NGOs to get 2 HP CIGS technology, and we're just waiting our first lot to come by March 15th. And we don't lead to the market until we do a hard study of 3 months minimum. Although we have done it, but again, this panel is customized from Switzerland, so probably we'll deliver them sometime in June or so. The 3 order has come out already.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Divya. Very important question. I think the price difference is quite substantial. And like silicon, do you also see a rapid decline in CGI's prices, or you don't see a similar downward movement?
No. In fact,
or would the price difference always remain? Would the price difference between silicon? Would a time come when both will be equivalent in price? Do you foresee that in the near future?
In fact, again, another very good point. In fact, it so happens that because we want to airlift, so the price went up. But if we have a little bigger order, that 120 will be like probably 85,000 or something like that, because it will come in the sheet. So in fact, it's kind of you can say it's insane. But we want to move in, we want to see the results. So I think the next lot when we order, which will come in a container, just shipping will bring down the price 30 to 40%. And as you said, that the demand, when the demand increases, and in fact, some of this technology, it's coming out in next 5 years, probably it will be comparable to silicon, but 5 years. But until then, I think, if you look at the Uberization model, right? So not many people could afford the car, but now many people can ride car. So this, we also think about this 120,000 or even let's say 1 lakh price. We also see envision as the entrepreneur. So this bank loan for a single person. So he owns this, does it for himself, and then charges to other people. So
no, very, very, very interesting. Absolutely fascinating. And we will continue to be in touch and have our quarterly meetings. And as soon as field visits is possible, I think all of us are very keen to go and visit and some of these sites. So excellent presentation. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Karma team, as well as all the questions. Now, may I pass on to Gham Power, Nepal? I'm not sure who from Gham Power is presenting.
Yes, hello, Aditi. Thank you very much.
Vishwaraj. Okay. Yeah.
Yes,
okay. We'll have 15 minutes.
Sure. Let me quickly.
Your voice is a bit, maybe your voice is a bit low, or is it just my
Let me get rid of the microphone.
Yeah, okay. This is good.
All right.
15 minutes, please. Yeah.
All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. So hello, my name is Biswaraj. I'm project manager for Gham Power. And it's a pleasure to meet and, albeit virtually, listen about all the fellow grantees in this program today. Thank you very much. So for some of us who, who may not know Gham Power directly, let me give a very short introduction. We are a solar company based in Nepal, established in 2010. We started primarily serving urban customers and commercial entities around 2015. We gradually moved towards rural areas and started by developing solar mini grids for electrification. And then what we learned from that experience was it is very important to tie solar or any other appliances directly with income generating activities for the end users. And since majority of the population in Nepal are engaged in agriculture, we figured developing solar for agriculture is something that should benefit most of the people, and that should rightly fit in the demands of the population. So over the past 4 years, we have developed around 250 solar powered agro processing systems, and most of these are solar water pumps. So when we talk about solar water pump, it is evident that access to irrigation and on-demand irrigation is vital for improving yield and income. But as it has been mentioned so many times during this morning itself, so financing is a real challenge, and we also, as a matter of fact, work with commercial banks. We are working with microfinance and agri cooperatives. We also tried the buyback model to work with Lakshmi Bank, one of the leading commercial bank in Nepal, but it has its challenges, particularly with a lack of availability of the branch in concerned locations, because these are remote locations, and banks have this 40-kilometer radius within which any branch can provide any kind of services. So that is a challenge. So we partnered with microfinance institutions. We are still working with microfinance institutions, and through that partnership we are also providing spot financing that does not require any collateral to the farmers. So that brings us with solar pump as well as financing. But as we implement this model for several farmers, it became very clear that suitable utilization and optimal use of the water pump is very essential to help farmer actually increase their income. So just by replacing diesel with solar may have some cost benefit in terms of saving, but to fully get the benefit and to adopt commercial crops, to adopt modern farming, farmers need a lot more help in terms of training and support. So and that's why we built agri advisory service in our mix. So altogether, with water pump, spot financing, and data-driven crop planning, we built this integrated service called Yield Improvement in a Box. We've deployed this solution for almost 100 farmers over the past one and a half year. This is a continuously evolving service, but our studies indicate that this has a very good impact on the farmers, with many farmers being able to increase their income by up to 80% within the project term. So there may be some question about the financing and that kind of thing. So basically, the microfinance provide up to 100% financing. The farmers are open to put on some collateral like 5% or less, but that's optional. And the term is usually 2 to 3 years, usually 3 years. We have seen these income increases within those 2 to 3 years. Of course, so many of the systems are still in the field. So we are yet to see how much ultimate benefit the farmers can receive. So we've been working on creating and piloting this solution, and the next step obviously is to replicate this solution and scale this solution from few hundred farmers to several thousand farmers who could really benefit from this solution. So as a part of the Solar Innovation Fund project, we're trying to do just that. So there are basically 4 work packages that we're planning to do within this project. The first being onboarding and training stakeholders. So one of the way to scale this would be to replicate this solution in new locations and replicate this solution with new partners. So that's what the work package 1 is about. The second component being further refining the agri advisory component. So naturally, we are a solar company, and providing agri advisory services is obviously not how we envisioned when we started a solar company, but this is a skill and this is a field that we're gradually developing on. We have a team of dedicated, in-house experts who are leading this solution, but we acknowledge that a lot more needs to be done, and that is where the Solar Innovation Fund will help us meet those gaps. The third component is impact measurement and validation. So we get this question routinely as to, maybe we are sort of working in a bubble, so you've done with like 100, 200 farmers, but how can we be sure that this solution will equally work for any other farmer? So we're trying to validate that the impact in terms of other farmers who are not, sort of picked and who are not brought in by us, and also understand the impact to our new and as well as future farmers more clearly. So that's the third component that we're trying to work on. And the fourth being market activation. So oftentimes, so especially recently, we're realizing that it's not just enough to do right work, but to get the message across is very important if we want to scale anything. So there are a lot of factors in the market. There are government agencies, there are private players, there are foundations, there are a lot of other actors who could play a part in contributing and who could play a part in terms of scaling these solutions. So we're trying to explore those avenues as as a part of this project as well. So let me quickly give a brief update as to what activities we're doing in each of these work packages, and then we can take questions towards the end. The first in stakeholder training and onboarding. So we're already working with microfinance for almost one and a half years now. So we have set up certain operations and procedures in place as to how a farmer will register interest, how the financing will work, how much time will it take to do all those measures, when will the pump be installed, things like that, and so with the pandemic, all of the operations, not just our operation, but even the operation of microfinances, which is largely personal interaction based. So all these interactions were abruptly stopped. So there's still some time that the microfinance will take. Most of them, they are gradually starting to recover and reinstate their standard procedure. But this was an opportunity, and all these abrupt stoppage was an opportunity for us to review our process and understand where the gaps might be, how we can further smoothen the entire interactions, and how we can further smoothen the process of how the farmer will learn about the water pump, how he will make the request of the water pump, how long are we going to take to make those financing decisions, make those how long are we going to take to tailor the solution and provide the solution to the farmer. So we did extensive field visits and interviews with the microfinance staffs and field agents, and we're now implementing a pilot of improved operating procedure. So we're calling this minimum viable product version 2 MVP2, and we're currently in the process of implementing that version with 3 selected branches. So we're at the moment working with almost 20 to 30 microfinance branches from almost 6 microfinance and cooperatives. Some of them naturally are more active, and to get this quick feedback as to how our improved processes might work, we're working with 3 agents, 3 branches. We're doing extensive trainings, demonstrations are being planned for later time, and other activities include, development of materials for marketing, education, and awareness, development of software platforms. So a lot of, most of our work is managed digitally through our proprietary software that includes an Android application, a website, and the ecosystem of hardware and sensors. So along with our operational refinement, we also need to bring that software refinement hand in hand. So that's about the stakeholder onboarding. And these are some of the glimpses of how we're undertaking this. On the left, you can see one of our field staff talking to the farmers, and this is one of the center meetings, as they call it, for the branches. So these microfinance, they have like an exclusive membership of women only, and their entire operation is based on meeting these groups every month. For loan collection, for saving collection, and to make other decisions as to any changes in the group. The second picture is our staff talking to the microfinance branches. On the second work package, it involves, as I mentioned, a refinement of our agri advisory. And as a part of that, we are testing 3 new sensors that go hand in hand with our Krishi meter, smart Krishi meter. We are currently testing water level sensor, water flow and discharge sensor, and dissolved oxygen sensor. So there's a lot of concern as to deployment of solar irrigation in mass scale could potentially lead to overutilization of groundwater resources. And our approach of so rather than a solution, but our approach in this has been to understand how much people are using the water, how much the groundwater level is changing over the years, and get those data before we can make certain solution before we can think of how we can address those. So we already have integrated moisture level sensor into our Krishi meter, so that can measure how much water, how moist the soil is, and based on that we can make recommendations. But as of now, we did not have any understanding of how the groundwater level is changing itself. So as a part of this project, we're trying to understand that as well. The second component is testing of our Krishi meter itself. So we are testing it with several farmers who are planting tomato, strawberry, mustard, and mushroom. So our goal is to sort of prepare a standard database of the best practices involved in the common crops. So if you plant potato, here's the list of things that you're supposed to do. Here's the list of metrics that you're supposed to achieve. So this should be your moisture level, this should be your NPK level, this should be your this and that. So we're trying to validate those benchmarks with field data from actual farms. And once we have those benchmarks, our plan is to sort of track these metrics from individual farmers.
Sorry, Vishwaraj, to interrupt. We have 2 more minutes.
Sure. So, okay, I'll make this quick. And then expansion of database is and then provide advisory to individual farmers. So this is also something that we're working on. These are the snapshots from the field. The third is impact measurement, on which we're working with Alternative Energy Promotion Center. This is the nodal agency for all things renewable energy in Nepal. We have selected 10 sites to pilot our yield improvement solution. And we are soon planning to deploy to deploy our smart meters and provide area advisory solutions to see how we can impact those farmers with existing solar water pumps that are supported by the AEPC. And the final is market activation. For this, we're planning to do field activities. Not much has been done on this regard because there are still some restrictions. I mean, not restrictions, but some background work to do before we can extensively deploy the field demonstration. So we're working towards the preparatory activities for this one. These are just the snapshot of the application, the Android application that our microfinance partners are using. The challenge so far has been COVID. I mean, the microfinance who we heavily depend on are still trying to sort of resume their normal operations, and they'll obviously prioritize their own activities and loan collection before solar water pump and other activities. So that has been a challenge. Supply chain is also an issue. We're trying to, I mean, there are still delays. We're trying to get a micro solar water pump for testing from India, and it has to go through Dubai and come back to Nepal. So things like that. I mean, it has been a bit of a challenge. The other thing was, it was also mentioned earlier, this partnership development, talking to banks, talking to financial institutions. They are extremely time consuming, and I'm glad that it's not just us who who are experiencing this issue. And the final one being from the farmers, and especially due to COVID, they have had a lot of challenges, and many times when we go talk to them, they often come back with a list of problems as to how we can help, but there's not much we can do in many of those issues. So a lot of conversations get stuck on that regard. And the next step being, as I mentioned, deploying our solution for 10 pilot sites in the AEPC, implementing those field activities with microfinances, integrating new sensors into the platform, and training and workshops for our microfinance partners. That's pretty much the summary. Thank you very much for the time. Now, I think I'll take any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Vishwaraj, for a very interesting presentation. And if I understand you correctly, it's mostly a tool for the MFIs to keep a track of the loans that they have given. And perhaps once this tool is developed and has been tested, then this is something even mainstream banks can possibly use. But also the collateral benefits I can see is this could be also a very nice advisory tool for maybe companies, seed companies and irrigation and all those ancillary services. Yeah, okay. Now over to others for questions. Vishwaraj, if you would unshare your screen so that I can see if hands are being raised. Yeah, thank you so much. Yes. Do I see any questions? If not, then I was thinking that in part, and I don't know if Dr. Sikka or Faiz or any one of you are around, because some of the groundwater related studies that we are planning in India as well as in Bangladesh does involve these kind of measurements of groundwater level, but also application. And I'm just trying to understand a bit more detail on what do you have in mind in terms of those groundwater measurements that you are doing, and how are you going to use that data to generate what? What is your ultimate objective with the groundwater monitoring?
Yeah. So, I mean, this naturally was not our instinct initially. So, after talking to a lot of people, so we were naturally focused on deploying solar water pump in scale. So, it was only later that we realized, okay, this is one of the concerns that we must address if we want to make this at a scale. So, our approach has been at first to understand the extent of the impact. And generate data before we can actually talk about what possible way we can solve. So first we worked towards creating a database of typical water requirement levels for typical crops that the farmer plant, and we add a sensor that can measure how much moist the water is and then recommend farmer, okay, you may be over irrigating now. But and we're also working to integrate drip irrigation and other precision irrigation equipment into our systems. But it is becoming increasingly clear to us that understanding the seasonality of groundwater is also important, because even in Nepal, in certain parts of the southern belt, there's significant differences in the water table between the seasons. So let's say we go and install a water pump on October, it seemed to be working fine, but come April, it just is not functioning enough, and we're getting we're getting some complaints as to, okay, this is not working as much as we hoped it would work. So first we want to understand how and how much this is varying, and we could not really find very reliable data as to how the water table is the level of water table at different places in the country, so that we can plan our system and design the systems accordingly. So the first step is to get a better understanding of the baseline itself, and then we plan to reinforce the intervention as to intervention that could be in terms of alerting the farmers, educating the farmers as a preventive, but also in terms of designing the system that can itself let's say cut or auto cut or things like that. So the first step is that we want to understand the extent and the impact.
Right. I don't see any question yet. Is that Dr. Jain, you want to ask a question? Please go ahead. You have to unmute yourself. You're muted. Yeah.
Am I audible now?
Yes, sir, you are.
You are. Yes.
You said that for monitoring the groundwater regime, you like to generate the base level information, but the base level information should be generated by establishing certain monitoring wells which should be monitored at a regular frequency. Then only you will be able to have the impact of the rainfall, the monsoon, the groundwater draft, and many other irrigation applications with reference to the time you are measuring. So kindly select the wells, representative wells, in a proper grid by laying down a proper grid, so that you are able to monitor the groundwater levels and the groundwater quality also, depending on what kind of situation you have. In India, actually, we are monitoring the wells 4 times a year with reference to monsoon and with reference to the cropping seasons. So in Nepal also, if you have a similar phenomena, then you should, time the measurements in such a manner that you have a pre-monsoon observation, you have a post-monsoon observation, you also have an observation beginning the main cropping season and at the end of the cropping season. And also, if there is a specific period during which irrigation is required to be given, that should also come in your measurement record actually. So all these wells should be fixed on a at regular intervals, and they should be monitored during a fixed time interval during the year, when whatever timings you are prescribing. If you like, for India, I can give you a more detailed account also. I can share the document we have prepared for India. So this will be very useful in terms of, number one, understanding that how the sustainability of your wells will be there with reference to availability of groundwater, and number two, how the recharge, discharge, and other hydraulic phenomena are taking place in the groundwater domain. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
so I think
yeah.
Sorry,
go ahead.
No,
yeah,
we would appreciate any document or advice that you can share. So one of the distinction in our approach has been to understand the impact of the use of water pump itself. So even as we use the water pump, there may be changes as to the water table, the very local at a very local level. So we want to understand that, and I think obviously studying wells might also be relatively more cost efficient and broad understanding of the issue.
So Nepal does have the groundwater department. I think they used to have their offices in the Babar Mahal, that office complex. So they do monitor groundwater wells, but what I understood, and I would like some of my Nepali colleagues to correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of the groundwater monitoring in Nepal has happened, but it has happened on a project mode. So the project comes and they have, monitored it for 5 years, 10 years, and then the project has gone and that monitoring has stopped. So the kind of regular network that the Central Groundwater Board in India runs in terms of long-term monitoring, we don't have that in Nepal. We have bits and pieces of data. There is quite a lot of data, but it's not like continuous over a long time. But when they're measuring, the groundwater department is involved. So they have a proper system. They do the grid, they measure, but except that the measurement fund somehow stops and they are one way or the other very project related. I really hope that that changes soon. And, Nepal has a regular, especially in the Tarai, they have a regular groundwater monitoring. Related to monitoring, Dr. Sikka has a question. Dr. Sikka, will you like to come in? And this would be the last question when we move on to the last presentation. Dr. Sikka, please.
Yeah, I know when I was typing, I think but the same time Dr. Jain was asking. So, because you see, first of all, I'm not aware you are doing it, whether in Tarai belt or which area you are trying to do that. And if your purpose is to try and see the aquifer and in that particular vicinity, because I do not know how many piezometers of the wells you are planning to put it there, and then only we'll be able to tell you whether what really you are going to capture and what is your objective of capturing as a baseline. Because by just putting 1 or 2 or 3 piezometers of the wells, I don't think that you are going to make a complete story, as Dr. Jain was telling. So what are your plans in that? So that is one thing that I would like to know. The other one, I saw you were talking about the soil moisture sensors. Now, the soil moisture sensors, and then you were telling that, you see, the soil moisture sensor is basically in trying to assess that how much is the status of the soil moisture in the soil. Now, based on that, whether it is meeting the irrigation water requirement or not, that is a different issue, that how you try and estimate it and whether you are over irrigating it. So how do you, I would just like to know your views on these two aspects.
Thank you very much, sir. Our goal with the water table sensor is, is primarily to understand the effect of water pump itself in the local, local water level. So let's say somebody has a pump and he's been using it for 2 years or 3 years. How does that affect the water table seasonally and over the years? So that is what we're trying to understand, and that is what I meant by understanding the baseline, because obviously this is one of a major concern as to scaling in solar water pumps. So we want to understand the effect of solar water pump at least in the local level. We are a solar energy company, and our scope and our ability to do a lot of this research is obviously limited, but at least on our part we want to understand the impact of the water pump itself.
But in that case, those others who are co-dependent on the same aquifer system, and they are not having a solar pump, they are having diesel or electric pump, they are also pumping, then even if you measure at that one point, you are not going to get any idea about what is happening. Is it happening because of the solar irrigation pumps or because of the other pumps?
Obviously, that would still be an issue. Clearly, but yeah, our approach so far has been to understand that, but hopefully we can sort of limit the use of diesel irrigation systems gradually, and at least address some of the issues regarding the solar irrigation systems.
Yeah, I think Aditi, maybe we can, because if I remember that perhaps when we were looking into this project last time, when
these were our similar questions.
Yeah, so maybe what I would suggest, Aditi, that we can discuss it later with them, and then look into this thing, and then I think that would be better that if we engage them with them separately on this issue, because the way they are playing, it is not making much sense. So let's try and discuss it separately on some other. Okay.
Let's
just focusing
do
on
that.
this.
Yeah, and then another, just you don't have to answer this, but something that came to my mind is that the tool you're building has a very has a purpose of informing these cooperatives who are giving the loan. But the tool also has very many multiple uses. So I would like to at some point later try and understand what are the various uses to which this data can be used in what kind of decision support system, because as I mentioned, it could be used by bankers, but it could be also used by agronomists, and it could be used by farmers themselves to, make different decisions. So there's a lot to talk about, and we will be in touch very soon and discuss some of these issues in more detail. With that, I thank you and your team very much for the work you have done so far in this project, and I look forward to interacting more in the future, including visiting the field. Our impact evaluation team would be actually conducting surveys in some of your pumps. I believe we are in touch with Kashi and others, and the sampling plans have been drawn up. So we are very glad about that as well. So with that, we are 5 minutes past the time. Thank you so much, Vishwadeep. Vishwaraj, can we now move on to the last and the final presentation of today, which is by PARC, Pakistan Agricultural Research Center, with Dr. Bashir, please. Over to you, Dr. Bashir. Again, 15 minutes, followed by 15 minutes of discussion. Yes. Thank you, Dr. Bashir.
Thank you, Aditi. Thank you. Hi, good afternoon. This is Dr. Bashir Ahmed, and I am working in Pakistan Agricultural Research Council. There's an institute, Climate, Energy and Water Sources Institute. Our project is livelihood improvement of dog well dependent vulnerable communities through energy and water efficient responsive drip irrigation system. That is known as RDI. So what is the innovation in this project? The innovation is to customize operation of RDI, responsive drip irrigation, on solar power. RDI is an irrigation system which consumes 50% less water and almost 67% less energy. As RDI functions 24 hours, so there's a need to make assessment of a day and night irrigation requirement and accordingly customize solar pumping system. So why this needed? Pakistan is facing immense water and energy crisis. Rain-fed areas are under serious threats of agriculture water scarcity. Then influential farmers are the primary beneficiary of many efficient irrigation schemes like sprinkler and drip irrigation system, and more than 90% of small focusing dug well or open well farmers who they have low uneven water availability and water scarcity, low energy consumption, and clean solar energy to pump water. So this will also enhance irrigation efficiency, which is in Pakistan is very low, and rehabilitate dug well based production system and improve livelihood. As we know, in Indo-Pak,
we lost Dr. Bashir. I think he may have lost his connection. So let's Let's wait for some time while he comes back. Yes. We had lost you for some time, Dr. Bashir.
So sorry. Yeah,
no problem, no
as I was talking about the vulnerability of small farmer system like the dog well.
You need to share your screen again. Sorry, Dr. Bashir, to interrupt. You need to share your screen again, please.
Sorry?
Your screen is not shared.
I'm sharing the screen. It's being shared.
Because I think you lost the connection, or is it just me? Can anybody else see the presentation?
No, I cannot see the screen.
Not visible.
Okay.
I'm alone.
Can you just unshare and share again? Then maybe it will come.
Aditi, I see his signals are weak actually.
Right. So one can one solution be? I believe you have sent your presentation to us. Mansi, do we have the presentation with us? Can we share it from our side?
Yes, Aditi, I was checking that only. I don't think we have it has been shared. So, is anybody else from
PARC can share, or Dr. Bashir, if you can email us?
Yeah, give me 1 minute.
Okay, okay.
Sorry on that part. At the last moment it happened.
Yeah, no problem.
So, but unfortunately, Dr. Aditi, we could not do much as we had been struggling with the funds transfer. We did some.
So, Dr. Bashir, you perhaps you are having a network problem. So even there are two ways. You can either share with us the presentation via email and we can project it on the screen, or the other way is you just verbally walk us through the presentation even if you can't see the slides.
Yeah, it's being in the process of attachment, and unfortunately, usually we have a very good network, and suddenly it started making problem.
No problem. Yeah.
It's taking time in the attachment as well.
Okay. So in the meanwhile, you can just walk us through what the objectives were and how far.
I'm talking about this RDI. So this is a new technology. It's basically polyethylene technology, and this is just like the drip irrigation system. This RDI is installed near the root zone, underground near the root zone, for crops as well as vegetables and horticulture crops. And if the screen is visible, you can see. So the main difference between drip irrigation as well as with the RDI is, so for the drip irrigation, it's a human who decide when to irrigate. But with this RDI, this is the new system. So, here plant itself regulate. So when plant need irrigation, so it emits signals, and when the signals are strike to this RDI pipe, so pipe emit water. The difference, one difference is this one automation, and other one difference is for the RDI there is a need of water in the pipe for 24 hours. Usually this irrigation system is efficient. It's about 50 to 70% more water efficient than the drip irrigation and more productivity. But its energy requirement, as it operates at a very low pressure, about 2 psi pressure, so its energy requirement are very low. And this is the schematic diagram with the solar pumping system for the crop production. So for our objective is and so due to extremely low pressure operation and very low discharge from the RDA tubing, the energy requirement for the operation becomes very low. So although it's theoretically has been estimated low energy requirement, but with these projects we are practically developing a micro solar pumping system for operation of RDI system. So assessment of irrigation as well as energy needs for the daytime as well as nighttime are required, and that we are trying to optimize the nighttime as a daytime pumping requirement as well as the water storage requirement. So optimize the pumping and recharge of the duct well. So we want to optimize that one. And then solar energy integration with the RDI is an innovative idea which has not been developed or implemented anywhere till to date. With the different configurations, one maybe because for the small systems like 10 marlas or 1 canal, so water storage at 7 to 8 feet is possible. And the tank can be filled once in a day when the solar is there. But when we go for a bigger system like 2-acre system, then so much storage is not possible. There we are trying to optimize the energy requirement with the backup of the battery when the solar is not there. So there we are working. We are estimating that with the 2-acre of a vegetable crop, if we need to fill the tank at the daytime, so how much backup of battery can help us. So here this optimization we are experimenting at our Pakistan Agriculture Research Council. Here we have all of operators and over there. Then with the we have a partner. There's Ivana Farm who are providing this RDA system. Then Provincial Water Management Department we are working with, because those are the stakeholder for the development of new projects, and the RDI American company is also with us. So our plan after 1 year of optimization at NARC, so then we will have 4 sites in different ecologies, in different part of the country at farmers' fields. And out of those, one will be the women farmer. We want to engage them, and we want to have a livelihood for the women farmers. In terms of how this innovation can be upscaled, as in Pakistan and India, there are a lot of government subsidy scheme for efficient irrigation system. So if this effectiveness of this RDI based irrigation system is proven, then we will recommend the government of Pakistan to put up this new irrigation system in the government subsidy scheme parallel to the drip and irrigation systems. So likewise, we are working with the different tiers of institution for its upscaling. And Dr. Aditi, is the screen visible to you?
No, it has not. After you got disconnected the first time, I think you needed to do the screen share again. So we never really got to see your presentation after the first 2 slides, unfortunately.
Okay. Unfortunately.
Yeah, that's
has
okay.
Not
Yeah.
been, so
no problem.
Presently, we have set up 2 installation. One at a farmer field near Islamabad. There we had this comparison with the drip irrigation system, and then with the solar pumping. We have installed the solar pumping system, and with the backup of. So we are reflecting the data in terms of energy and in terms of water use. And with one is directly pumping with the system, one is with the storage. And another system at NARC we have planned, but as fund transfer will be assured, then we'll implement that one. That is on the orchard. So we are putting again with the one with the storage at 8 feet height, about half acre, and one with the half acre with the solar pumping system with the backup of the battery. I have shared the presentation just now in the email.
Right.
So that was about all about my presentation.
Okay, thank you so much,
Apology,
Dr. Bashir. I haven't yet.
It didn't work well.
Yeah, no problem. This happens. Network connections are often very, very unpredictable. But I think most of us got the gist of it. And before we open for further questions, and if in the meanwhile the email comes through, it hasn't yet come through on my email, we can always share it then. My main question here was that, and I know I had asked it also during our last meetings when all these approvals were going on, was how much of this is demand based? I mean, are the farmers demanding RDI, or is that something that PARC thinks that the farmers need and therefore promoting? Because the point I'm making is that all our governments, we are full of schemes which the government has thought the farmers need, and then we have promoted them without really knowing if the farmers actually demand it. So that is kind of what one of my minor concerns were. But with that, I want to open this up for further questions and discussions if anybody has any clarifications from Dr. Bashir.
So, Dr. Aditi, as RDI is a new technology, yes, farmers don't know about this technology. Being a research institution as well as in the irrigation, so we are introducing this technology.
Yes.
So we are testing at our farm as well as at the farmers field. So we have already tested at 2 farmers field, and the response of the farmer is really outstanding. One farmer which is
we lost you, Dr. Bashir.
I think if because he's sharing, so if he stops sharing, then perhaps he can speak. Otherwise,
yeah, that's what I'm trying to see from my side. I think he has a okay.
Another farmer where water scarcity was another issue, we installed that system, but the convenience of the system, as this system is a automated system, he was happy that he can do other tasks because he's not worried about irrigating of the his crops or farms, because this RDI is an automated irrigation system itself. It's irrigating. So his preference was in terms of convenience of the timing. So he can do all that work. So being the research institution, we are taking this technology at various with the to various agencies as well as various farmers.
Right.
So that was the two testing to farmers.
Yes, and fair enough. It is actually a part of your mandate to come up with new technologies that could potentially be beneficial to farmers. Yes, that's a good point. Do we have any further questions from Dr. Bashir? We will certainly share his presentation once we would be sharing all the presentations on our website along with the recording. So we will get his full presentation maybe next week or the week after. And we can always then get back to him if we have more questions. Any questions, clarification? Dr. Sikka, did you want to ask a question?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Because on the out of this course it says open mouth, so I thought maybe let me try and click that open mouth. So
yes, okay.
Because
I was thinking why.
No, because the hand thing is only says it's for the clapping, so I can see that.
Below there's a raise hand. Actually, below there's a raise hand. Yes.
So,
good that you did not click the birthday cap one. There's also
birthday cap. I thought, let me open the mouth one, So,
okay.
Anyway, so Dr. Bashir, what I understand, because you see, there are two things. Either you optimize the size of the tank, because during the night time or when there is no solar radiation, then from the tank, and particularly during the night time, the requirement will also be less, which will be communicated from the roads. And the other way is that if you want a continuous flow to the system, not just looking into the tank, and we can also optimize the battery size. So there will be always a trade-off between the two. So what do you think that anyway during the night time or the late evening hours, the water requirement is going to be less, which will be communicated or transmitted through via the root system. So what is that your objective? You want to optimize the tank size or you want to optimize the battery size?
Thank you, Dr. Sikka. I think it's a very relevant and good question. As with the one crop at a farmer's field, usually being a agronomist or irrigationist, and there was a perceiving that most of a plant satisfies its requirement at a daytime. But with our one season estimation, about more than 50 to 60% of the crop water requirements are fulfilled during night time. So this is our experience with the bitter gourd. Then again, for the optimization case, first we need to estimate how much requirements are required at a night time. Once we have this estimation, then we will go for the optimization of either the battery as well as or the tank size. For a large system, I think for 2 acre, maybe bigger tank size may not be cost effective. There we will have a combination of backup battery. Maybe if we can optimize the tank, and if we can fill the tank at the evening time before the solar, I mean at the end of the solar system, then we can use that fill tank for the night time. So these kind of various settings we are testing. Maybe after 2 crop season we will have in a good position mix of you can say optimization, backup battery as well as a tank. But surely for small systems, optimization of a tank is our preference. But for a large system, so mix of approaches are thinking.
Yeah, because as of now, the battery costs are quite higher, and maybe with the time things might be cheaper. So that's one way. But the thing is that if we try and fill the pump, fill the tank more towards before the sunset, when still there is a good irradiance level, so that way you can try and optimize it in a better way, trying to optimize both combined way, your size of the tank and the battery.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Sikka as well as Dr. Bashir. Very interesting presentation. We would get back to all the innovation grantees, and we'll be in regular touch now that we know that all the projects have started. So with that, we are at the end of our time period. This was, I thought, a 2.5 hours, a very intense and very interesting discussion. I feel very motivated and kind of very inspired by all the work that all of you are doing. I wanted to pass on to Divya, if that's okay, to kind of conclude and summarize and close the meeting formally. Divya or Corinne, either is fine. But
thank you so much, Aditi. May I just invite Corinne, because for Corinne this is the first time that she is part of our regional forum this year. And once she has given her comments, maybe I'll take it from here. Corinne.
Yes, I really wanted to congratulate all the organizations and people that have presented their innovation this morning. I was listening very carefully and I found all of them really interesting. I have to go back, I must say, and read the detailed proposals. What is really interesting that we have innovation models, not just for the financing, but we also have it in terms of technology as well as the social side. So they're very diverse. And I think it really adds on to the value of the solar project. Yesterday, particularly in the 2 sessions, we discussed a lot about research and the gathering of data to answer the questions we have. Now, all of these innovations we discussed today are very concrete solutions to some of these questions. And that's why it's so interesting to have them in this project. So thank you very much. I wish you all good luck. And I look forward to then hear about the results in a little while. Maybe one point, what came out very clearly, you are much closer to the farmers, much closer to the women farmers and male farmers. And of course, it brings a lot of value. Also have the discussion. I enjoy the discussion about the banks, the whole financing question. I think there it's excellent that you document what you see on the ground. And I think also for us as a project, it raises additional questions. You know, do we ask the right questions in terms of financing? So I think it's excellent that we had this discussion today, and it's not finished. Over to Divya.
Thank you so much, Corinne. I kind of, add on to what Corinne is saying. First of all, congratulations to all the innovation grant fundees, for the work that they have already started. We do appreciate at SDC level that because of COVID-related restrictions in the last almost 1 year, that the work, of course, the work on the ground especially suffered. Also, it took time for us to get things, moving because of the issues related to transfer of the funds from IWMI to the various partners. I think with PARC, as Dr. Bashir said, we are still waiting to finalize some of the issues in terms of funds transfers. But yeah, great effort. And I must also, I don't know, I'm sure many of you know already, but just to let Corinne also know that the selection of these 5 proposals was actually out of more than 80 plus proposals that we had received in response to our call for, first call for Innovation Grant Fund. So it is really, I mean, congratulations are due also on that account, from being selected from the wide variety of 80 proposals that we have in itself is a great achievement. And we are looking forward to the, what the learnings that we have from these particular projects. I think this will be very, very useful. Corinne said that, yesterday we were discussing some of the research questions and some of the innovation grant projects that we are funding, actually respond to them. And this was actually a conscious decision when we also selected these projects. This was absolutely in line with the questions that were came out already in the stakeholder consultations when solar project was being designed, in 2019. So really pretty much aligned with a lot of work that was or questions or ideas or policy questions that we already thought are of interest to our partners in the various countries where we work under this project. So thank you so much to all the presenters today. Really excellent work, and wish you the very best. The coming year and a half will be very, very critical for all of you to actually start things on the ground and also start documenting, as Corinne said, in terms of the learnings or future ideas that emerge from these particular interventions. So we look forward to that. I also take this opportunity to thank everybody who participated yesterday, especially from government side, from in all the 4 countries that we are working. Really appreciate their efforts to actually talk about the work that has been happening, and as well as the future outlook, in the coming year. So, and congratulations to IWMI team. Great work done despite all the limitations of the past 1 year. So, but thank you so much for all your hard work and dedication to this project. Thanks. Over to you, Aditi.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Divya. For really the excellent support that we get from SDC, and for being flexible with us and all the so we are very grateful. I just wanted to, before closing the meeting, if we can all switch on our videos and we can quickly take a screenshot. So consider it the group photo. I also figured out that there are very fancy ways of taking this group photo. I can make all of us sit in an auditorium, apparently, if there's a button I push on Zoom, but I'll just take it as it is, like a screenshot. And just give me a minute. Oh. Yes. That's one, and one more. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. And we will all be in touch, and we will be sharing the report and the videos and the presentations with all of you shortly. All of it will be on our solar website, and we continue working with you over the next 2 years, 4 years, whatever the rest of the duration of the project. Thank you so much to the SDC team, and thank you to all my IWMI colleagues. Yes, with that, see you again soon.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.